I don't believe those ancient mariners really believed that story about the sea being full of dragons and falling off the edge of the earth. I don't think they believed it at all. I don't even think it was a story. I think it was a song. It was sung in taverns late at night by drunken sailors. And to those sailors, it was really a story. And the story told of the problems they have in their life. The dragons, well, those were the obstacles they face every day to kind of navigate through their life. And they live in the sea. And the edge of the earth that they fell off, well, that was death. And it's a little morbid, but I think it was probably fitting and telling about their lives. And I've stolen a little piece of that story. It's the piece from The Last Dragon to the Edge of the Earth. And I stole it and I gave it a name. I call it The End of the Sea. And I did that because when I think about my life, I think that's where I am right now. I'm in the end of the sea. And I discovered something there that had a lot of value for me, so I thought I'd tell you a story about how I found it and what I found there. I think if you're like me and you think you're in the end of the sea, or maybe you're younger and you're able to see that place on the horizon, you'll find some value in it too. So here's the story. It starts with my dog Dylan, on land, ironically, but he is a very stubborn dog. He's a terrier. So we have a lot of discussions about that. And one of them was one day he sat me down and he said, "You know, Dad, I don't like these walks where you take me every other day or whenever you feel like it. I want to walk every day." And he said, "I have two conditions. One is that we always go 3 miles, no matter what. And the other is that you can never force me to go out in the rain." He hates the rain. He hates it with a passion. He'll go out in a blizzard when it's 20 below zero, but he won't go out in the rain. So anyway, I agreed. I thought it would be a good idea for me to walk anyway. And now we walk every day. We go out early in the morning when it's quiet. No cars, no people. And I let him lead with his freaking idea. So he leads, I follow, and all I really have to do is look out for cracks so I don't fall on my butt. And I pick up poop. It's not the most glamorous thing in the world, but that's what I do. So I have basically an hour and a half every day in the morning to think about stuff. And sometimes I just think about stupid stuff like what I had for breakfast, or I'm hungry, I want to think about lunch, or maybe I'm going to go to the store after I bring him home. So sometimes that's what's on my mind. But most of the time, I think about the big things in my life that I've lived. The things like getting married or going to college. I got married twice, so that's a lot to think about. And I think about changing jobs or maybe moving to a new city. I don't do any of that out of regret. It's just kind of a walk down memory lane, and I'm kind of building a map of where my life happened. So I have no regrets about it. I do it for a couple reasons. One, of course, is I'm just trying to kill time. And the other, which is probably more something I shouldn't be doing, but I fantasize about what I would be like in my life right now if I had taken some of those paths that I rejected then. Would I even be alive? Where would I be? Would I have kids? So I thought about that a lot for a couple months, and after thinking about that, I realized that this is my map, but the path I'm on right now wasn't in the map. And I was kind of curious about that, and then I realized it wasn't on the map because this path I'm on now, it's not like all those other paths. All those paths had a fork at the beginning and a fork at the end. And this path, there's nothing at the end. There's no fork. There's no choice to be made. It's a dead end. And that's the way it is. It's a path we all have to walk someday. And it's also a path nobody picks on purpose. And I wondered, why the hell did I take this path? Why would I pick a path that was barren and led nowhere? It seems like a pretty stupid thing to do. And I'm not that stupid. And then I remembered when I got on the path, there was stuff in it. But every time I got near one of those things, I would get reservations popping up on my head, you know. And do I have the energy to do that anymore? Am I strong enough? Do I have the coin? And most of all, do I have the time? Because when you're in the end of the sea, like I am, time's a big factor. You don't know if this place in the ocean is a puddle, or a bay, or a lake, an ocean. You just know that you can't know how big it is. You don't know how much time you have left. So one of the doubts that always crept into my mind was this fear of that, the fear that I didn't want to start a project that I couldn't finish. So you don't do it. And one by one, all those things I wanted to do just kind of evaporated. I had this cartoon bubble in my head when I was thinking about this, and it was filled with all my ideas, all the things I wanted to do, and it went poof every time I got to one of those things, and poof and poof and poof. And after all the poofs, I'd look around and I'd say, you know what, there's nothing left. I don't have anything I want to do. And I had this big epiphany at that point. I realized that all my life I thought about the choices I made and the decisions I had to make. And I always thought of them as the things that pushed me down the road. They pushed me down that next path to the next decision. But I was wrong about that. You see, when you're walking up to one of those decisions, it's not a decision. It's not a decision until you make it. Every little decision is like a flashbulb. It just, you get there, you make it, and you're done. You're on a new path. And I said, holy crap, those are dreams. They're not decisions. They're just things that happen because you had that dream. And I'm in the end of the sea, and I realize the reason I'm there is because all my dreams are gone. And I think a lot of people get there and they just kind of give up on things. They kind of go by the window and they look out the driveway waiting for the Grim Reaper to come up and grab them. And when I got to that point, I realized this is where I was. I had no big dreams. I said, you know, I'm not sitting by the damn window. That's not for me. That's existing. It's not living. And then here I am. I got this dilemma. I don't have any big dreams, so I'm kind of out of gas. What do I do? And then I realized, well, just because I can't have a big dream, there's nothing stopping me from having a lot of little dreams. And that was kind of the head flip I made. You know, when I was younger, I would think, you know, I want to build a boat. And that became my goal. And at the time, I had all the time in the world. I had plenty of money. So I never thought about the 6, 7, 8 months it was going to take me to build it. It was just a goal, and I did it. But now, I can't think about a boat that way. I have to think about the boat like all of its parts. Each part's one little dream. And it doesn't matter whether I'm going to build it on a boat or, you know, maybe I'm trying to make a collection of every flower in the damn world. And I'm going to paint every one. And what you have to think about, what's really important is that it doesn't matter if you finish it, because you're not going to be around to see the unfinished project, whatever it is. And what's important is that every single day you get up and you say, I'm going to make one part for my boat. I'm going to paint a rose today. And every time you do that, it puts a smile on your face and it keeps you out of the damn window. That's what's important. It's good for your body, and it's good for what's up here because it it keeps you young in your mind where it counts. And that's what I learned at the end of the sea. It was very valuable to me. I think probably if you're young, you may not think that's true for you, but I'm telling you, when you get here, it's a big deal. It keeps you whole. And that's what I discovered at the end of the sea. I want to make two little footnotes. One is if you already knew this because you discovered it when you were 16 or 20 or 30, then I apologize to you sincerely for wasting your time. And if you are one of those people, I forgive you if you want to call me a dumbass for taking 80 years to figure it out. Thank you for your time.